Greetings and welcome to another session of Champions Office Hours featuring Champion Market Dynamics. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. Maybe you've gotten a copy of this thing and you have some questions. Maybe you've never heard of Champion Market Dynamics and you want to know more. You're in the right place. So, a few things before we get started. As always, we'll open it up for questions at the end, but please feel free to unmute yourself, put something in the chat, raise your hand. Please feel free to interrupt to ask a question. You don't have to hang on till the end. Um, if you have questions after the session, you're always more than welcome to reach out to your RAM or to myself, and we would be happy to answer any questions you have or go through any processes with you. So let's get started. You'll see here, I've got just kind of some snippets on my PDF of the Champion Market Dynamics, but what are they? What are Champion Market Dynamics? We're going to answer the questions, why is the information important? Where do we get the information? We're going to answer all those questions. So basically, what are they? This is actually a Bobby vision that I did help bring to life. He wanted to find out, how we can better help and serve Wind Supply territory managers. What if we provided a tool that could elevate business and it identifies who is out there and what to get? And so comes in Champion Market Dynamics. What this tool includes first is a map of all dealers, contractors in a geographical area by county. The map is linked on the PDF, which I'll show you here in a minute, and there's also a QR code, so it's definitely easy to access the online details. But first, where do the details come from? Let me pull up. Nope, not that. Let's see. One second here. Let me get the right thing pulled up. There we go. So where do these details come from? Well, Johnson Controls actually purchases a very comprehensive list of verified dealers and contractors from all walks of life, including like accountants, childcare, restaurants, even vacuum cleaner and sewing machine repair locations. Info USA, now known as Data Axle, is the company that provides the information. They have a large team of dedicated full-time researchers. They place millions and millions of calls annually to ensure that the published information is of quality and is accurate. The frequently updated lists are built from phone directories, business sources, including websites, real estate, tax assessment, voter registration files, utility connects, and a lot more. So when that team verifies, they're actually thoroughly verifying everything. So not only does Info USA Data Axle publish this information, but they also offer marketing solutions as well. But if you are interested in marketing solutions, please check out our list of preferred JCI vendors. You can access it easily in Solution Navigator by dropping down marketing at the top to marketing library. You'll choose your brand, contractor success programs, 2025, and then the preferred vendors file. And what I will do is actually send you a detailed step-by-step guide on how to access that, because there's actually another thing on that you'll want to have. Those preferred vendors and really a lot of our marketing programs, it's a widely encouraged way to utilize your co-op funds. There are fantastic discounts, and it's really proven programs and partners to help grow your business. So this is the first page of the Champion Market Dynamics. On the second page, we talked a little bit about marketing. You'll see here at the very bottom, our the 4 marketing programs that we want to bring to your attention. We want you to know about these. QR codes are easy to scan, so you can immediately pop up a PDF of that operating letter. You'll see promotional extended warranty, contractor conversion and engagement programs, synchroning financing. All of that is right there showcased on your Champion Market Dynamics. But let's look at the map. I know that you're wanting to look at the map, and I do too. So like I said before, the map is linked in the PDF, and there's also a QR code, so it's really easy to access the information. So you should see a web page with the information. And basically here, you could see all of those dealers and contractors. The menu here on the left corresponds with the legend on the map. And basically just to kind of explain what that's all about, the dealers and contractors, your opportunistic in orange, these are dealers and contractors that are listed on InfoUS. You don't have them signed up as a Champion dealer yet. These are opportunities for you. In blue you're already serving some contractors or dealers, and they are on that InfoUSA list. I wanted to make sure to call them out, so they're in blue on this list. And then finally in green, I definitely didn't want to discount anybody that I did not find, especially if they're, signed up, registered as a Champion dealer. I wanted to make sure to include those as well. So if you're, an established local company and you have dealers signed up through the Champion brand, you can have this full list. If you're relatively new to HVAC, or you're just getting started, you may only have orange opportunistic. Both tell a great story. Both are great reference points. But the green are going to be kind of what doesn't show up in InfoUSA, but I wanted to include because it still tells a great story. So there's a couple different ways that we can look at this information online. And again, you can do this through your phone. I think you push legend, and that kind of pops up in the menu on your phone. But the first way is you can just click in through the menu. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this H&C Service Incorporated, this number 1 on the orange through the menu. And what you'll see that immediately do is highlight the one on the map, easy to see. And then this is the information provided by InfoUSA. Basically gives us who the dealer contractor is, where they're located, their credit information, their contact information, what their reported employee size is, and what their reported sales volume is. Also the year that they first appeared. Now you may look at a dealer and go, well, I know that number's not right. We only can go by what information we have. So is the information perfect? No, it's probably not. Everything is constantly changing all the time and updating and improving. So what we have is kind of what is published at the time. So it's not perfect, but it's definitely great reference and gives you a point to start with. I'm going to go back through the menu here. That back arrow on the menu takes me back to the full menu. And then what I also want to show you is what a dealer that doesn't show on InfoUSA looks like on the map, what details show. So I'm just going to click into Amen Air here, number 1 on the green. And again, it highlights it for us here. Not as much information shows, but it does give us who they are, where they're located, and contact information, which is really great reference. But what I wanted to make sure to show you, you can zoom in and zoom out on this map. We're still looking at Amen Air here. And I don't want to go too far into analysis of this, but I just want to show you that Amen Air is across the highway from 2 opportunistic companies there. So maybe you don't have full details, but this tells a great story. You've got a couple places across the street that our potential opportunities. Any questions on the map so far?
Robin, is there specific areas where you can do this for, or can you do it for the whole country?
Great question. So how we kind of start it is it's whatever counties you report when you sign on with the Champion brand. So I'm really glad that you asked that because that's kind of my starting point. That's the counties that I use. If you signed up in 2015 and your counties have possibly changed since then, you can let me know. Hey, can you add this county? Can you take away this county? Can you do it for these counties? I can change the information. I can, tweak it and add and remove. It's very easy to do that. So if the counties that are listed for you are are not showing correctly or you need more, you're more than welcome to reach out to your RAM or to me and just say, hey, can you add in these counties? Yes, I can definitely change the information. But that's where I start, is whatever counties are first reported. So going back to our map, again, linked, easy to access, nice little legend here, gives you kind of a bird's eye view of the whole map. Once you click in, fully interactive, you can move around, zoom in, zoom out, get more details, whatever information that you need. But let's take a look at the second page. Now that we can identify who and where, we're on to the second page. We've kind of talked about the marketing programs that we want, at the forefront. We want you, engaged in those. In the middle of the page is a potential sales volume opportunity. Again, this number is not perfect, but I will at least tell you where I got it from. So on the list of dealers, when you click into a dealer, it gives you a sales volume amount for that dealer. What I did here is I just took all of the opportunity dealers and totaled that sales volume and put that number here. Again, not perfect, but this is what you can go and get. So it's definite opportunity for you. And I understand that maybe that number's maybe not all HVAC. Maybe, it's not complete, but at least it gives you a reference point. It gives you something to go by. Above that middle box is this graph of counties. So we actually uh, combine some of our additional resources and add additional market share data so that you can see the breakdown of how many JCI units versus how many industry units and kind of the current market share for that county by county. So you can see here, and big thanks to Douglasville Winair for letting me use their account again. But Douglasville Winair is located in Douglas County, Georgia. So you can see that there are 349 reported units through JCI, 23,000 industry units for 1.5% market share. Again, not perfect information, but it's reference, it's something. So this kind of just gives you the breakdown by county. But above that is full market analytics. And what this does, and hopefully you can see my web page of full market analytics here. So what this gives you is kind of a broader scope of those market share analytics in that you can see here, if I'm kind of at the bottom of the page here, you'll see residential furnaces. Below that is residential ACs. If I follow this line across, it gives us 2022 and 2023 calendar years. I can see how many ACs were sold through JCI And then next to that, I could see how many industry ACs were sold, 47,000 for a 1% market share. And then 2023, I can see, oh, nope, I could see the difference there, 72 JCI, 40,000 industry for a 0.2% market share. So you can see all of that information basically by unit category. What percentage, JCI, industry, calendar years side by side. And once we finish calendar year 2024, this will update to 2023 and 2024. But it's nice to show the trend, kind of where you were, where you're at, you know, the opportunities that you have. In addition to that, I do like to call out the counties that are represented just because we are comparing apples to apples, but sometimes it's not Honeycrisp to Honeycrisp. So just in this example, you can see that the JCI data counties does not include Heard County. And that's just with reporting, that just may be kind of the way it shakes out. Again, not perfect information, but definite great. You could, so I like to call out the counties there just in case you're looking at half the counties represented in your JCI data versus all of the counties reported through the industry data. Any questions on those analytics? I don't want to get too deep.
Thank you for sharing that, Robin, because it goes to kind of show what's actually happening in your area. Is there a trend more towards heat pumps? Maybe your customers are doing ACs, but maybe in a specific area, the trend, more of the dealers are wanting to talk more on heat pumps. Or if you're thinking about what's the opportunity to get into commercial, there's not a lot of commercial in my area. You can take a look and see actually what is the opportunity in that area for you. And this is everything that's shipped from the major manufacturers into the United States.
Thank you. Perfect. Yes. So going along with all the analytics, now we know who, we know where, we know kind of what, why would this information be important? Well, there's not enough time to cover exactly every reason why, but I do encourage you to get with your RAM to explore this tool further because there's just so many stories that can be told. But the way I see it, to break it down and keep it simple is you can look at it a couple different ways. Maybe let's say you're an established local company and you have a list of dealers. You've maybe even enhanced some from the champion level to the CCE level. Now you're set to go out and find some new dealers. This is a great tool to kind of show you who you already serve and who to go after and where they're all located, in accordance with each other. But let's say maybe you're a spin-off local company and or you're relatively new to HVAC and you've already kind of maybe been serving some plumbing or electrical dealers that you could maybe bring to the HVAC market, but you need some guidance on who else is out there. Here's a tool that shows you exactly who's out there and where they are. So main question, how do I get mine? How do I get my hands on one of these? Well, you can send a request to your RAM. You can send a request to myself. They do take a bit of time to prepare and complete, but turnaround times generally within the week. So as long as I don't have a whole bunch of them at one time, they come back fairly quick. Again, like I mentioned, if you signed up in 2011 and your counties have changed since then, maybe you get a copy of this and you go, oh, this isn't right at all. Just get with me. We can correct the counties. We can get those changed over. It's no problem at all. Easy to request. Any questions on this?
that they want to get any of this information, go directly to the RAM, and then they'll get with you, put this together.
Yes. Yes, this is a great tool. You can print it off, laminate it, so you can write on it. You can, carry your TM can carry it around with them. That they have this information at their fingertips. A lot of the information's QR codable, so you have access online easily through your phone. We wanted to provide a tool that was easy to use, helpful to use, had as much information as we could get. Or are there any comments? Maybe you've gotten a copy of this and hey, this has worked really well for. We love to hear those things too. Or I have one, but I'd really like to see this. Let us know that too. Any other questions?
Has anyone on the call used this to target or put together a sales plan strategy, or is this the first time everybody's really seeing this? Everyone is so talkative today.
I know. Man, can't get in a word.
Well, there's no better time than now, right?
Right. Right. I'm looking at who's attending, and I know that I've seen a couple that I've sent out, but maybe you've gotten a copy and you're not quite sure how to look at the information, and that's fair too. We're happy to go through it with you and kind of, it's kind of fun to play with the map. You can zoom in and zoom out. You can kind of change the look of the map. There's a lot of variables to it, so perfect. First time looking at it. Yeah, you request a copy. It's a couple 3 weeks down the road and you go, oh my gosh, I don't remember anything what she said. You'll have a recording of this and you can always go through it with us. We're happy to help you analyze, strategize, take a look at things. Awesome. And what I will do is I will actually provide a copy to everybody in the meeting today. So you don't even have to request. But if you're watching this as a recording, you'll have to ask me. You can include as many counties as you want. I would try to stay within what you're actually going to sell, but you can request however many you want. What else? What else?
Robin, so the only way to get these is to request them per
Yes,
Wind Supply local company?
that
Okay.
is correct. Yes, they're this is something Champion branded, Wind Supply focused that only we supply to you. So
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
great question.
Pretty custom made.
Absolutely.
Hey, Robin, there's a question in the chat of how many counties can they include in one request?
They can include however many they want. I would try to keep it to what you're actually going to sell. But again, if you haven't requested any and I'm just going from scratch, I'm going from whatever was reported when you signed on with the Champion brand. So like I said a couple times before, if you signed up in 2011, your counties might have changed since then, So just let me know. You get it and you go, this isn't right, or I don't do business in that county anymore. We can add, delete, edit, just as you like.
So Robin, is
Robin.
this a live document? So in other words, if there's a new HVAC company that pops into that county, is it live? Does it show updated counties, or is it something that we have to go in and refresh if, let's say, 3 new companies popped up in my county?
Unfortunately, that Info USA Data Axle document, it's very, very, very costly, and we get it maybe once a year. So no, it's not completely live. That's why I wanted to really stress that the information is not perfect. It's probably only, perfect at the time of publishing, but I try to stay on top of when that list comes out. And as soon as it comes out, I'll refresh it. And like I said, when we complete calendar year 2024, those market analytics will update. I will update those and send those out.
I believe
Okay.
it's only published once a year. So
Yes.
and it's fairly accurate, but that's a great question, Stephanie. Like if there's a new company, does that pop up? Robin, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can we break down the dealers by what they focus on? Like what their like mechanical versus residential, or
I'm glad that you asked that question, because I did Info USA list like covers all walks of life, including HVAC, but accounting, childcare, like all those. Bobby and I did was we took that massive list and we condensed it down to what made sense HVAC wise. So if you have a specific request that you want to see those kinds, I can probably dig into that, but basically we just condensed it down to what made sense for HVAC, and those are kind of the dealers that we went with. That's why sometimes dealers that are signed up maybe don't show on Info USA, maybe the filters don't line up, or they change names, or kind of that sort of deal. So I wanted to make sure that I included everybody, especially since they're signed up as a dealer, but it's possible that they could be on Info USA. They're just under a different filter that maybe didn't make sense. Hence that their annual sales volume may not total HVAC. So any other questions? Well, that is Champion Market Dynamics. Again, I really encourage you to get with your RAM, strategize, explore this tool further. It can be so helpful to you. The recording will be made available on the QR code here shortly, along with all the other previous Champion office hours sessions. I want to thank everybody for taking their time to join us. Please reach out if you think of anything later. It happens all the time. People contact me afterwards all the time. So, if you think of something down the road, don't be afraid to come back and ask. Also, if you have suggestions or recommendations for future sessions, something you'd like to see on office hours, let us know that too. So with that, I thank you, and we'll see you next time.
thank you, Robin.
Thanks, Robin.
Thanks.
Thank you.